With tennis star Naomi Osaka withdrawing from the French Open, there's been a lot of discussion about athletes and mental health. Courtney's getting some expert advice on the subject.
Yeah, we are joined by two wonderful individuals who are going to share a little bit more about that with us this morning. We've got Dr. Armando Gonzalez, we call him Dr. Mondo, and we've got an Olympian with us this morning, Colleen Quigley. Thank you so much to both of you for your time. And we were going to talk about mental health for athletes anyway, and it just so happened that it timed out around the same time Naomi Osaka sent out her tweet and ended up withdrawing from the French Open. Just an excerpt from that tweet is where she says, the truth is that I've suffered long bouts of depression since the U.S. Open in 2018, and I have a really hard time coping with that. She also goes on to talk about how she's actually an introvert, and she gets incredibly anxious and nervous when she has to speak to the media. This is something that is, I think a lot of people just don't understand the pressure that is on for athletes. And Colleen, I can imagine you know very full well the pressure that is on your shoulders as an athlete, and then on top of that, an Olympic athlete.
Yeah, I think it's really cool to see Naomi talk about this right now when she's in the peak of her career. You know, she's ranked #2 in the world. She's not retired. She's not, past her game and kind of looking back on it and saying, yeah, that was really stressful. She's in the thick of things right now, and she's, willing to be vulnerable and say, I'm struggling with this, and stand up for herself at the peak of her play, which I really look up to that. I think it makes her more real as a human. It makes her, I really look up to her bravery.
Yeah. Colleen, obviously an advocate for mental health as far as athletes are concerned. Dr. Mondo, when you look at the situation and you look at, we've got a number of student athletes in our area in particular. We have a lot of peak athletes that come out of this area and go on to the pros. You've been a concierge doctor for several professional athletes. What are you seeing as far as mental health is concerned with the pros and then athletes in general?
I think that every level that athletes compete on, as Colleen mentioned, there's a tremendous amount of pressure. There's also a certain level of isolation that happens the higher you climb up the ranks. So the more you level up, which of course is what everyone wants to do in their careers, unfortunately, the more isolating it becomes, the less peers you have. And the peers that you do have, you often compete against. And so I think for Naomi, I can only imagine, she's introverted. She probably doesn't have much of a circle to connect with and share her experiences with, people that can relate to her. And then here she is in a stage of her life where she's simply just saying to the French Open, look, I just need some space. I can show up and do my job, but just give me a little bit of space. And I think that their answer and their response is very typical of what we've seen a lot of systems and even workplaces responses be towards mental health, which is still minimizing how important mental health is. And that's why I'm so proud of Colleen and people like Naomi who are sharing their stories and saying, look, we all struggle. There's a lot of pressure on us as athletes. And that's how we're going to break the stigma by athletes sharing their stories. So I'm so proud of Naomi.
So tell us about Cheatcode and how this is really important for women as well as people of color in sports.
Yeah, I think I'll let Colleen speak a little to her experience with Cheatcode, but essentially Cheatcode is just this idea that transformational mental health experiences exist, and I'm committed to myself practicing the best mental health practices out there and then giving them not only to athletes, but to anyone in the community. So we have both Cheatcode as a company and then also a nonprofit, the Cheatcode Foundation, and Colleen has experienced the Cheatcode herself, so she could probably speak to that a little bit as well.
Yeah, for me, it's been a really special experience just because I've been a pro athlete since 2015, and I really only started working on my mental health summer of 2017, beginning of 2018. So, later in my career, I would say, and it's just been a huge game changer for me. And so going through that experience and really realizing what that's like, it's been special for me to be able to advocate for that for other athletes and just for any, human being who feels like they might be interested in that, but feel maybe self-conscious about it or feel like there's a stigma around asking for help or needing help. So yeah, it's a newer thing for me, but I think that's cool to show that no matter where you are in your life or your career, there's still a possibility to level up and work on that and get better and get stronger, both physically and mentally.
Well, I'm just glad that the world has finally realized it's okay not to be okay, and it's no different for professional athletes or student athletes as well. Colleen, Dr. Mondo, thank you both so much for your time this morning. We're going to make sure that you have all the details so you can find Cheatcode and get them online as well for more information. All right, you guys have a great day.
Thank you.
Colleen, I saw
Thanks,
you put on the
Courtney.
sunscreen. Very proud of you. Cody, back over